for being our guest on Musicap. It is a pleasure to meet you. I can't stress enough how much it is. So the first question I ask is, how excited were you when they asked you to do your commercial that you did with the scoop? There it is. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, um, actually, they gave my tag team phone a call, right? And I didn't answer the phone. And because I do SEO and all of that, they went to my IMDb profile for acting. And my agent calls me, and they're like, "You booked the Geico commercial." And I'm like, I didn't audition for no Geico commercial, right? And they're like, "Well, you booked the Geico commercial." And I was like, "Wait a minute, this is some tag team." And I checked my messages, and it was Geico. And I let my agent just make the deal, and then I got to work and started preparing for the commercial.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It would have been, it's exciting to see. A lot of people, when they hear it, they go back in the days where, we were jamming from the music and jamming from the song as if today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like when I got friends, we see that commercial, everything stops. You know what I mean? I mean, the whole household stops.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, hold on.
It is a catchy song. Anybody in the kitchen, if they scooping ice cream, scooping anything, it's a very catchy song. It was nice. So tell us, how did you start it? I want to go way back and ask you like questions that you probably been asked this 100 times. How did you start in the music industry? Where did it all begin?
Well, I was born in Chicago, and I moved to Denver, Colorado when I was like 4 years old. And I had a wonderful childhood, and I met Steve in high school, and Steve had a band, right? And I was like, I want to be in that band. And he was like, nah, man, nah. And I was like, come on, dude. And I just begged him and begged him and begged him. In the meantime, I worked in the truancy office. And the truancy office was down the hall from Miss Davis's classroom, which is the choir, Manual High School, both vibration, right? And I used to hear the music, and I wanted to be in the choir. And then our first party that we had at Steve's friends DJ, and that's the first time I've ever seen somebody with two turntables rocking it like that. And I was like, I got to be a DJ. So Steve eventually let me in the band, and I eventually got out in the choir, and I bought two rickety turntables and a Radio Shack music mixer, and my career was born, right? And this was my senior year of high school. I started when I was like 16, so my sophomore, junior, senior year. Then I went to school in California, Sac State University, Sacramento, and started just honing my talents. I DJ'd all the fraternity parties. I did, my boy Johnny Z. He's produced Back to the Hotel by In Too Deep back in the day. I taught him hip hop, taught him how to DJ. He bought a 4-track. And I started making songs and got good at it. Then Steve started making songs. We were making songs, throwing them back and forth because that was the first opportunity we had to make songs without having to go to a studio, right? So fast forward, Steve moves to Atlanta at my senior year, and he's like, man, come down and visit me. Atlanta's popping. I'm like, all right, I'll come down Christmas vacation. And went down there, and as soon as I touched ground, I knew I was moving to Atlanta. We had a ball that week, went back to Sac, put all my stuff in, and came out to Atlanta, and I had a job at CNN, but there was a club called Magic City, right, strip club, and the DJ was just terrible. And I was like, you know what? I could DJ at this club. And I asked the owner, and they hired me. And the first day that I worked, it was like all the girls loved me, and then it was on. It was like we want him. And then that's when it just really snowballed as far as, the culture starting, right? I'm DJing, I'm making music, I'm making songs, I'm the man in a strip club. Now I'm in regular clubs. And I just started making a name for myself in Atlanta, Georgia. And just fast forward, I knew that we were never going to be able to get out of the South without making booty shake. Because, you know, our upbringing was hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, I ordered records from New York, ordered from LA, ordered from every region of the country. So I was exposed to all of hip hop, right? And just lo and behold, man, it was like, I said, Steve, we got to make something booty shake. He's like, man, I don't know how to make that stuff. I was like, don't worry about it. Think Planet Rock and Egyptian Lover. Because that's truly the essence of hip hop. I mean, you throw Planet Rock on anywhere, it's going down, right? And it brings back such good memories. And, you know, that's the whole B-boy era, right? That's what started it. So he went and did his thing, used the Kano sample. I had a stack of rhyme books and started trying to match, you know, back then I used to match songs with, because I used to write all the time, match songs with the beats. I was working on this song, Whoop, There It Is, because Whoop, There It Is was just like a party saying, like throw your hands in the air. And people really think it's like this big, you know, I had whiteboards and it's a physics project and we're using theorems to make, it was nothing like that. It was a song about partying on a Saturday night, period. And we made the song. That's all it was. We made the song.
Hello? Did you freeze up?
Yeah, he froze up just a little bit.
A little bit of a Skype hiccup. It happens. It happens.
He's still there?
He's still legally there on Skype. I'm going to hang him up and call him back. And maybe... You had a really good interview going. And then...
Gonna hang up on brother.
Then we had a Skype hiccup. DC, are you still with us, baby? Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Awesome. Because you were talking and then you were gone, my man.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Shoot, I'm running 2 terabytes over here. So,
Oh, it ain't me. That's right.
I know that's right.
hey. Where was I at?
Oh, that's how Whoop There It Is was a Saturday kind of.
Oh yeah.
Banger,
So Whoop There It Was Saturday. It was a Saturday night, and we made the song. And that night I had to go to work. Huh?
I said it still is a banger on Saturday.
Yeah. And I went to work that night. After we got out of the studio with it, put it in a cassette, and to this day, that's still the biggest song that I've ever played in my DJ career, and I've been DJing for 30 years, right? So I knew I had something, and but you know, I'm a young man, and I think every song I'm doing is bomb. So I really I couldn't tell because I think everything was good. So I didn't play it for a while, and then I started playing it again, and same thing happened, and a guy named Alan Cole from Columbia Records was in the house, and he was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Man, that's my new stuff." And he was like, "Man, you got to give me that. I'm gonna send that to New York." I was like, "Bet." Then I was like, "Wait a minute, I might have something." Then I started sending it to everybody. So now I got all these record companies just telling me how good I am and how great the song is, but ain't nobody pulling the trigger, right? And it was getting irritating, and I was just like, you know, I actually, that was one of the times I almost gave up, right? And, you know, the last gas effort was a young lady named Lisa McCall told me to call Al Bell. Al Bell used to own some Stax Records back in the day. And the previous summer, he put out a record that went gold called Daisy Dukes, right, by Deuce. And I was just like, okay, I remember that. Like, just like I said, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. He knows how to work bass. If they went gold with it, he could really do something with this. So I gave him a call. He didn't call me back for about a week. He called me, and I was like, oh, like, Mr. Bell, let me tell you something. I got one. I've been testing in this club, and the hottest club in the country. You need to sign us. He was like, okay. I was like, we ain't even heard of the record. He was like, and I'll never forget this. He said, brother, I ain't got to hear the record. I hear it in your spirit. Let's agree to agree. I was like, whoa. And we did it. I gave my 2 weeks in Magic City, signed a messed up record contract, in a month and a half, we were platinum. So it can
So
happen for anybody.
how did you and the other gentleman that you made the song with, how did you guys get together? Like, how did you guys become tag team?
I told you, we met in high school, right? I met Steve
Oh, yeah.
in 11th grade, and he had the band. They were playing the quad at lunchtime, and I wanted to be that band. He played the drums, and then I became the lead singer, right? And we both our last names is G Gibson. He's Gibson, and I'm Glenn. So we sat by each other. That's how we really met. We just hit it off, and then we had a bunch of friends. We all was cool, and we just carried that relationship on. And as you get older, it's hard to keep a band together, and everybody went their separate ways. We would try to come back together, but it just came too hard year after year. And me and Steve kept it together as tag team, because there was actually 3 members of tag team, but one member, he went into the service. So me and Steve just kept it going, and we kept making songs, go to the studio when I come home for spring break, stuff like that. And then we just kept it moving. Once I moved to Atlanta, it was on. And we made several records that did decent. But then, whoop, there it is. We was out of here and never looked back. And it's been a good ride. Yeah.
All right. But I wanted to know, did you get the same feeling like you did back in '98 when Whoop There It Is came out on the radio? It was just like blazing the radio.
You mean
did you get that same exact Geico commercial came out with the same thing? I mean, both of them just took off. Fire. So
no. I'm a different dude because I've been a DJ all my life. So stuff like that doesn't move me. Like, I was more excited the first 2 days with Geico, right? But then I knew I had work to do, right? Because I had been through this before. Same back in the day with Whoop There It Is. I was always work minded because my parents, they built me up that way. My mom had me 5 years old. I was stemming collard greens and shucking black-eyed peas. You know what I'm saying? So have never feared work. So, of course, I was happy. Of course, it was cool, but it was like, okay, how are we going to take advantage of this situation? How are we going to make this money, right? How are we going to get this? It's like people get it messed up, and then they get it misconstrued when they think, okay, now we've made it. That's why you see so many people with hit records because you'll never hear from them again, but because there's more to it than that, right? And, because I'm an actor and because I do, I'm a voice artist, I know how to prepare for the thing. So as soon as we did the deal with Geico, I'm preparing, right? I'm like, okay, what can I bring to this commercial? Because the first was supposed to be Soup There It Is. So I'm looking at Seinfeld episode, Soup Nazi, trying to get out ideas and all kind of crazy stuff, right? But then there's like, no, we're gonna do Scoop. And I was like, oh, ice cream. And then that's funny that you say that because that's where this came from, right? Spin and Scoop. Right, and it just came. I was just like, oh, I want to spin a scoop. I want sprinkles. I want this. I want the kids to love the sprinkles. I want all this stuff, right? And I started, stitching it all together. And then we had our production meeting, and I went to the director. I said, hey, man, I got some things I want to do. I prepared. He's like, whatever you want to do, DC. And I was like, I want to do this spin and scoop, but I couldn't find nobody to make me one. So we ain't going to do that, but there's some other stuff I want to do. He's like, don't worry, it'll be done. I'm like, word. Okay, we in the big time now, and everything I wanted to do, we shot, and all those little nuances, all those little things, man, are what make that commercial great. And if I had did that, I just showed up like anybody else would have been another commercial, right? But because I prepared, and I knew what I wanted to do, I knew how I wanted to affect children. I know what it meant to me to have my father making ice cream as a child. We had. He put the eggs and the sugar in the cylinder, and we had the ice with the salt around it, and we had to churn it. And in 20 minutes, we got out ice. Yeah. That's the essence I wanted to bring to the commercial. And it just, we did it, and we forgot about it. Not forgot about it, but went on about our way because I'm booking. I don't know, during the pandemic, 2020 is one of the best years I ever had. I shot 2 books, Tyler Perry show, got a TV show. And then here come Geico. And now I'm booking more than ever. And people don't even know People on the womp side don't even know that I act. And people on the acting side don't even know that I do womp. There it is. It's beautiful because then I can maneuver. And I'm getting things on the strength. I know where I stand, you know, in people's eyes and as a man. And it's like, I got this because I earned it, right? I didn't get this because I said, hey, I won't. There it is. You need to give me something. I didn't do that. I never do that. That's what like you. Hey, how many times somebody ran up on you like, you know who I am, and they be like, I'm such and such, and you like, okay. Especially women, right? You know, it's like that's dudes think that works, and it's like it don't work. It make you look silly. And because I worked in the club and I watched dudes do that, and I watched people treat people bad, I watched them rise and I watched them fall. I vowed that I never be that dude, and I've always been the same. And you know, I don't have to be a star. I like to live my life, right? So people still don't recognize, and it's beautiful because I can still, if I wanted to be a star, I can be one, right? If I want to pour it on, be like, hey, guess what I did, right? I can do that, but there's never no need for it because people accept you for who you are. And that's more important, right? And then when they find out, it's just like cherry on top, right? It's like they already done accepted you. And now you know they accepted you because of your character and because of who you are. And that means everything to me. So we shot it. I was trying to find fault in the commercial, and I was so happy because I couldn't find no fault. The only thing I found fault on was me pointing my finger at the ice cream, and it was off a little bit. And I was like, they was like, you tripping. I was like, hey, you asked me, right? But other than that, it was perfect. It dropped Christmas night, and my phone been buzzing ever since. But, you know.
Right.
Well,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
We did a tribute.
Yeah, we did a nice little
tribute to you. Yeah. My son's 13. His name is Josiah. Found out that we were interviewing you. He was like, well, you know what? We should get a video together. And I was like, you know what? That'd be so cute. So we got a video that we want to show you that he did, that he helped put it all together. And it's like a second video, but we want to show you real fast. It's a tribute to you. So I don't know if you can see this screen up here. I see
yeah, I'm gonna try to pull it up here on the video here for him as well.
I see it.
Yes.
Y'all funny.
You got the sound?
He's got the dog there.
That's good. I appreciate that. Y'all sure they have a lot of different shots.
They put some production into this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we was up all night.
We were up all night doing it. We had so much fun.
Yeah. That looked like y'all had a bunch of fun. Yeah.
I'm amazed they got the dog to pose with the glasses there, DC.
Thank you. That makes my Easter, especially on Easter Sunday. I appreciate that. That's dope. I appreciate that.
Could you hear it?
I couldn't hear it, but I could see it. Man, Skype is just.
Okay. They got the womb music in there.
Yeah, it's got the womb music in there.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And you know what? It's you know, that's what's so special to me because I know I've touched the world, right? And just through music, right? I've done it 2-3 times in my life, right? But this one was the biggest because everybody gets to see it simultaneously, right? There it is. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, we had carrier pigeons, so it took a little time, right? And it was still fast, right? But it took. Now it's just instant, and everybody just sends me messages of joy, right? Of how happy it makes them, and I see it. When you got little babies can't even talk, and they rock into it, like how's that even possible, right? What is it that makes a little baby just jerk and just start dancing to something, and they don't even know how to walk yet? That blows me away, and it's just it lets me know how blessed I am and how fortunate I am, and I take that so serious. That's why I do so many interviews and podcasts, because I'm trying to spread positivity, put people on game, and talk to people and give them the knowledge of my wisdom over the years, like I wish somebody had done for me when I was a young man. You see what I'm saying? And it works out.
So in your history, well, in your history or your line of work, or what all you have done and what all you have accomplished, were there any headstones? Were there any like milestones, thoughts where you were just like, man, this is not for me? Hardship. We make it look easy, but it's not easy. For people who are like seeing your shows and they're like, oh man, I can do that, but they don't know the time, the patience, the financial, everything that plays into being or in becoming the person that you are. So did you have any hardships? Were there any like milestones that you had to come through?
Every day. It's still hard. I don't know what you talk about. It's hard. I'm lazy. I don't want to get up. I don't want to do stuff that irritates me. You know what I mean? I go through it. I've been going through it. But the difference between good and great is that you do it anyway, right? You do it anyway. And it can't be a quid pro quo. I do this and I get this back. Can't do it like that. You just gotta play offense. NBA basketball star is gonna shoot 30. If he shoots 30 shots and misses all 30, you think he's gonna stop shooting? He's gonna shoot his way out of it. You can't quit. You can never quit. That's the thing. And all the hardships, all that pain, all that envy, all that fear, all those negative emotions over the years, I've acquired the ability to put it in my pocket, don't react, and use it later as positive energy. That's my fuel, right? You gotta say, don't let your haters be your motivators. It don't mean nothing because everybody says so much, but people don't really stop and realize what that means. It's like I keep people around me who doubt me, who are cynical, who criticize, because that's my fuel. That's my fuel to take and use it as use it somewhere else. If I'm an actor, right? So I can take these things and bring them to auditions and scripts and roles that I do because it's in me, right? I remember that I got pissed off about that thing back in the day, right? And now I can be, instead of me trying to be a character, that character becomes me, right? And that's what acting is, the true definition of yourself and all the experiences that you've been through. So I have never been a glass half empty dude. I've always been in a glass half, and I stay pressing. I lay seeds. I learned how to do everything. I'm a licensed commodities broker. I was about to put together hedge funds, but it wasn't for me. But I saw it through, and sometimes you see something through, and you see it's not, it's not for you. But the whole point was to learn about finance, so I could take care of my money a little bit better when I was younger, right? Because every man gets to that point where they know that they have to get fiscally responsible. Whether you got a family or where there's coming to a point where you're a man that you got to be fiscally responsible, and you hear it all the time. I wish they had taught. Well, my dad did teach me that. My daddy taught me the best lesson, and no matter all this financial stuff that I learned, this still is the best lesson. You spend less than you earn, pay yourself, put the rest away. He gave me the game day one, right? But I'm like, nah, Dad, I got a ball. I got a ball. So I need more than I got so I can ball, but still have something. But life don't work that way sometimes, right? Because you got monkey wrenches that happen in life, and then you have to adjust. So it would behoove me to learn how to be my own bookkeeper, to learn how money works, to learn where, get me a financial planner, because trading wasn't for me, because trading is like intellectual gambling. And never been good at gambling. I don't even gamble. I go to Vegas for the food. I don't go for gambling, right? So that's what I'm about. And as I grow, I learned how to do other things. Like perfect example, the Geico commercial. A Geico commercial. Salt and Pepper did a Geico commercial in 2014. They've been on tour ever since till the pandemic, right? But we couldn't do that because we're in a pandemic. So when the pandemic started, I said, "What are you gonna do?" Everybody had to stop exactly at the same time, and you had to ask yourself, "What you gonna do?" Right? And it's because of all those hardships and all those experiences and all that stuff that you hold in and that you learn from, that you were able to survive things that come at you like that. I was like, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, but I can do this. I can do this thing right here. Because I can sit right here in my drawers and do this. Not that I got pants on. I'm just saying, I can sit right here and do this and rock the house. I can sit right here, do this and make money. So I reinvented myself. And I went back to 2008 when I started voiceover. And I started listening to all of those tapes. And I had to listen to my 10-year-ago self, right? Because I'm in these sessions with these coaches in New York and LA, and I'm not getting it. And that's my hubris, because I'm thinking, I could whoop there it is my way through anything, right? I'm DC the Brain Supreme. Not this. This guy, you got to put the work in. I don't mind putting the work in, yeah, but you got to put the work in. And because I was who I was at that time, just 10 years ago, I'm thinking these coaches don't know what they're doing, right? So I still roll with them. I still learn because I don't quit. And it got to the point where I stopped going to New York. I found a coach down here. Then I got an agent, right? Got an agent. Now I'm I'm booking a little bit. I'm doing voiceover. I'm working for Apple Radio. Then I got a meeting at the agency. The owner comes up, meet the owner. She's like, "I love your face. Put him on camera." I wasn't even thinking about being an actor. But all throughout your life, around Oscar time, everybody dreaming about walking up on that stage, getting that out, right? Because it would be dope to be an actor. I've had opportunities all my life to be an actor, but never took advantage of them, right? So I had to get headshots and start going to class. Then it got good to me, and I went hard, right? And when I was in class every day, 2-3 times a day, on the weekends, I went hard. I booked my first commercial after 6 months. I've been doing this, right? But I knew that it was going to be a hard road, and this is what I wanted to do the rest of the way. Tag team. I got a forever hit, right? So just whenever something pop up, I deal with it, get the money, and keep it moving, right? Now, that sounds a lot easier than what it is, but that's what it was. And me going back and reinventing myself and hearing my first script that I did in voiceover, it was heartbreaking, because you talk about whack. It was so cringeworthy, right? And I was like, I can't believe that I thought I was the bomb and I was as bad as I was, right? And it was also inspirational, because I said, you know what? I'm gonna do this over. Take their notes. And when I did it, it was angelic, because I had finally had mastery over my voice, right? And I went through 40 2-hour sessions a year ago, the first month after the pandemic, and started booking instantly, right? It's not about what you do, it's how you think about it, right? It's how I have this phrase called learn how to learn, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks this is one way to read a book. There's 10 ways to read a book, right? If I get a long email and I don't feel like reading it, I'll throw it in the AI software, it reads it to me. Or if there's a couple of pages I need to read, I throw it in AI software, it reads it to me, and then I'll be like, "Ooh, that's interesting." I'll read along with it and get better retention. Now it's in here. If I had tried to read, I'd be daydreaming about food. I'm hungry. I want to quit. You just start daydreaming. I don't know what that is. A lot of people call it dyslexia, but I don't believe it is. I just believe you just be daydreaming. Reading is hard. It ain't easy, and there's only so much of it you could do. So my whole goal is to learn how to learn. And whenever I hit a brick wall, just like with Geico, right? We can't do shows. What are you going to do? Well, I need a publicist. all the publicists were like, well, we in a pandemic, and there ain't no movie premieres, there ain't this, there ain't that. We don't want to take your money. We can't really see a path. I'm like, thank you, but I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna think differently. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna be my own publicist. And I went and joined the organization. And that's what I do. I joined organizations because organizations are full of professionals who've been doing their craft for 30, 20, 10, 40 years. And it might be 200, it might be 5,000 in an organization. All you gotta do is join an organization, start running through their resources. You'll know the game instantly. I jump on a Zoom 2 days in, and the Zoom is of the CEO of this PR firm. And, you know, I've already got a press release written because I was like, I'm going to drop a press release as soon as it come out, and we're going to do it. And I'm like, hold on. You need validation because you dropped press releases before. This time you want to make sure you do it right. So I jump on, I raise my hand to the Zoom. I'm like, hey, a press release is relevant? And they're like, well, what's it for? I'm like, well, kind of featured in a Geico commercial called Scoop There It Is, right? I'm looking at the chat, and they're like, what? Wait a minute. Is that? I love that commercial. That's the best commercial in the world. Chat just blew up, right? And I'm looking at the chat, just starting to scroll fast, and I'm looking at the moderator, looking at the chat about the, scrolling up fast. And she's like, yeah, DC is new to the organization. We'd like to welcome him. And we're going to talk about that Geico commercial after. But DC's question is, our press release is relevant. And the lady was like, yes, especially now, because you've got a feel-good story. And we've been in a year full of doom and gloom, and everybody fighting with each other, and dogs and cats fighting with each other, and everybody thinking they know what they know, and then everything don't bubble to the surface, and we all are in the Serengeti together, right? We're all in the jungle together, eat or be eaten, right? Everybody got choices to make, and you come with a press release that just shows joyousness and happiness, and then she's like, of course, and you want to do this to get in front of the journalists. You want to do this to get all the podcasts. You want to do this to get the radio stations. You want to do this to get on television. You want to do this to do this. You want to do this to do that. And then you want your pitches to be like this. And then if you do this, it'll be good. She gave me the game in 10 minutes. And I ain't looked back. And it's the reason you and I are talking right now. Because I thought differently. I didn't just sit back and say, I got a commercial. I'm the bomb. I didn't do that. I went to work. Because life is about planting seed, right? But we're in an age where everybody wants instant gratification, right? So that's why I don't even think about what I do. I just do it. I don't care what it is. I just do it. Because think about it. You take a seed in the garden and you plant it. You don't sit down, cross your legs and be like, okay, grow seed, grow seed. Oh, this seed ain't growing. I quit. Now tell me that everybody today.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody wants it to just like that. And it don't work like that. You plant that seed, you keep it moving. And plant another seed, and plant another seed, and keep it moving and press. And then I planted so many seeds that I forgot about, right? But because I hustle, there's seeds that fall out my pocket and growing in places I didn't even try to plant them, right? Because I keep hustling. I keep thinking different. And there are so many seeds out there. I stand before you today in a forest of opportunity, right? Because stuff's hitting me in the head every minute of the day. DC, do this. DC, can we do that? DC, I see opportunities weaving themselves together in front of me. I'm not sitting here like most people are like, man, I can't wait for it to get back the way it used to be. I'm like, dude, if you sitting here waiting for it to get back the way it used to be, you're going to be sitting here waiting for it to get back the way it used to be. Because it ain't never coming back the way it used to be. You got a whole new frontier out. You could build your own lane. You could build a 4-lane highway. That's how wide open it is for you to reach your dreams, right? And I just made the decision that I am not going to leave this earth wishing I had done something, wishing I had learned how to play piano, wishing I did music production again,
It leads
wishing I had learned how to do jingles. You know, I found out ways to learn so good now, and it's all because of the pandemic. If your Zoom game on point, it's not on point, you're not gonna make no money. It doesn't change. I normally would have to go to New York and fly all over the place. Go to New York and a whole bunch of people will come in the same room and just ask you questions back to back. Now, I can do as many of these as I want. After I dropped that press release, I dropped it 3 days before the Super Bowl. The next day, I was on a Dan Patrick show because of that press release.
Wow.
A week later, I was on Tamron Hall because of that press release.
To the next question that I wanted to ask you, what do we have in store for the future? I mean, in the future coming from you guys? Do you guys got like something like you're working on or anything like that from that? Or
any movies coming up? Any more commercials? Or any more roles possibly coming your way?
He's looking like.
Tag team is tag team. We got a forever hit record. Why would I try to make some new music? I'm not trying to be no artist again. I'm 54 years old. What I look like. See, there's a way to do it. See, that goes back to thinking, right? I put out a record, and I'm rapping again, and I guarantee you, people gonna be like, DDC need to sit his old butt down, right? But if I submit a record in a Christmas movie that I've auditioned for, and it's gonna be in. And now I got a Christmas song in a movie. People are gonna be like, I like that song. What's that song? DDC did that song. Man, that dude's still making money. You see the reaction? You see the difference in reactions?
That's it.
It's about thinking differently, right? You can't think the same way everybody else does because everybody else is doing the same thing. That's why it don't work half the time. That's why people get desperate. That's why people get thirsty because they want it so bad. They want to be stars, and they doing the same thing everybody else is doing now. Everybody's doing the same thing like everybody else, which is nothing.
Nothing. Right.
A whole bunch of nothing. Meanwhile, I'm making jingles for the commercials I'm in. The marketing agency, one of the biggest ad agencies in the world. I'm friends with the CEO. Artists don't do that. It's usually a manager or a publicist in between them making deals and stuff like that. Not me. I'm trying to meet everybody in that company.
Right.
That company represents a whole bunch of brands. And I'm trying to be Jake from State Farm for voiceover or acting. Right.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm whatever comes my way. The only thing I'm trying to do is be prepared for it when it comes, because if I'm not prepared, it's my fault. And that's the answer to your question. I don't really have anything. I want to act. Whatever comes my way, I'll take it and I'll be prepared for it, and then I'll make it work for me. And that's 4 or 5 different things. But you got to think different, and you got to work your butt off and be prepared. It might not never happen, but at least you're prepared and you put in that work, and you never know how that thing is going to help you with something else.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I'm sorry, but I don't mean to TDD Jakes on y'all, but I can't help it. I'm passionate about it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm being TD Jakes now. Y'all need that. Help us better in life and keep on moving. Hey,
I get to preaching up here, boy, but I'm passionate about it because it's my responsibility. I've lived a blessed life. I had 2 parents that love. I've never not known love. I was raised by a community of people. We got to play when we was kids, and for me to be selfish and not try to put people on game and give everybody the knowledge of what I've been through, all this heartache and pain and fear and success, I've just wasted it. It's up to me to change the world. Not necessarily like I'm trying to change the world, but you just never know. So somebody could be listening to this podcast right now and I'll be like, word. That's the thing I needed to get me over the top.
Hit some hard.
Well, us here at Musicap, we like to talk things in existence up in here. So I want you to do this, okay? Now, if you have your movie, the way you want to write it, the way you want to star in it, I want to know who will be your co-star in that movie.
It don't even matter. It really don't. But I mean, but there's a reason I say that, right? It's easy to think like that, but I'd rather not. It don't matter because I'm gonna be prepared for anybody. That's the beauty of acting. For me,
Right.
is the unknown. Is the okay? I gotta okay. Are they gonna give me what I need, or do I gotta work for it? Right? And you know, but it's funny because my agent asked me the same question. DC, what do you want to do? I was like, hey, y'all do a great job for me because you know I practice humility and thankfulness. Right? You guys done a good job for me. We good. No, DC, what do you want? You good. DC, what is your bucket list? Oh, that's a different question. That's a different question. I said, all right, I want to be in Star Wars, the Mandalorian. Any Star Wars thing, whether there's animation with my or live action acting. And since we did that down here in Atlanta, and all the Marvel stuff shot down, why ain't been no Marvel movies? And then to answer your question, give me 5 lines with The Rock, and I'm good. I don't gotta be in the whole movie. Just give me 5 lines with The Rock. Because everybody gonna be like, DC in a movie with The Rock. They ain't gonna say DC is in a movie with The Rock 42.2 seconds, 42 minutes. As long as I'm in the movie with The Rock for 5 lines, I'm good.
That's right.
Hey, this is why you say in the club, I'm trying to get money out of dudes. I was like, look, I ain't asking you for a lot. Just asking for a little bit from everybody. That's all. And we'll be all good. And it works. You don't make your expectations all big. I'm trying to be a working actor, not a star. And when you do, it's a difference because if I'm working every day acting, the rest takes care of itself.
It takes care of it. Takes care of itself. It falls into place.
Yeah.
Falls into place.
You
don't get caught up in the desire and the thirstiness of it. You actually enjoy it.
You do.
And it becomes a part of you, and then eventually you'll get recognized for what you did. You'll get recognized for all the hard work you put in. You'll get recognized for all that sacrifice, and that's life, right?
Right.
Yes.
Life.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and I can say that because I've been through it. I've been through it 14 times. I feel like, but. We all have issues. We all have things we have to fight through, and I just choose to keep pushing. Choose to keep. You're never too old to do what you want. Just promise yourself you don't want to leave this earth without achieving all your dreams and all your goals, because it can't happen. It just takes time. I mean, it takes hard work, right? And I get plenty of sleep.
Look at the work.
I do.
Look how it's transforming. Look at all this COVID that's going on or whatever like that.
Yeah.
I mean, all the music stars, the movie stars, as you was when the COVID wasn't here, because it done stopped a lot of things from happening. So, like, you got to count your blessings. You got to, count the blessings that you're here another day, there and everything like that. So,
I think of it like this, and you're so right, because I feel that COVID actually truly has humbled us and make us really has refocus us, because that, hey, tomorrow's not promised. So you need to get out here, get this work done, get this knowledge done. You need to take care of your kids and breed them, as well as plant them seeds within them, so that when they, you need to make the best at everything you do in life, not just at everything you do. Like, you wake up every morning, it's a blessing.
I wake up every morning about 4, 5 o'clock and get to it. Don't even think about what I'm gonna do. And then I always have a list. And if I start veering off and start going down rabbit holes and then trying to do 4 things, I'd be like, man, why am I confused? Stop. Look at that list. And I start with the first thing, and I don't stop till I finish the first thing. Then I go to the second thing. Don't stop till I finish the second thing. Now that's 2 things that are done that might not got it done if I didn't have that list.
Because that's going to be messed up. Like, you can't never take a list in the Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Because that list ain't gonna be the same after you leave. You can go up in there and be like, I'm just going in for a loaf of bread, and come out with a basket full of stuff. Yeah. So it's hard to stay.
but when you've gone astray, a nice list of things that you need to do can get you back into get you back focused into what you need to be doing, and then you can jump to something that's relevant. because you in the zone. You can finishing things. It feels good to accomplish something, even if it's a little mundane task. It feels good to finish it and know you don't have to do it no more. Right. So when you do that, then you are like, okay, you know what? I really need to do this. This is what I really want to do. Let me do that. And now you're in the zone. You get that done. Now you really feeling good. You don't got 5 things done today. Your day has been a good day. Right. You kind of could just stop and just relax and go do your thing. So I'm just, like I said, I think different. I use this technology. I use these tools. Like I learned SEO, right? Search engine optimization. 5 years ago, you type in tag team, it was wrestling. You type in tag team today, it's tag team. Period. You gotta lay them breadcrumbs where people can find you, or you ain't gonna make no money. You can't just like a lot of artists. They be like, okay, people should like me just out the air. It's like man, people don't forgot about you 2 days after your record came out. We're in a new world. So if you pop up with somebody saying it's like, hey, I might want to do them with a show, do something with them. Type in their name, and they not their attention span ain't gonna let you just keep looking for them. That's why it was important for me to have them breadcrumbs when Geico called, because Geico might have had 4 of the rappers that they wanted, and they would have missed 2 calls with me and been like, you know what, let's go to the next dude. Depending on the person who was doing it, right? So that's why it's important to, everybody says social media this, social media that. Social media is very, very important if you know what you're doing, because everybody's doing social media for likes, and it's not about likes, it's about engagement. Exactly. It's about people asking you questions and you coming up with solutions and to people's problems and trying to be inspired by certain people, not trying to see what they're doing or trying to get likes because you need attention and all that, all that's false. But for some people it works. I don't knock nobody for their hustle, because the youth have a different hustle. See, they didn't grow up when you had to pick up the phone and be like, yo, hey dog, can I come over? They didn't have to go through that, right? They didn't have to go through dialing on the phone. I did. So I feel like I got the best of both worlds, because I got that old school in me, which is that old down south southern upbringing. But then I'm technology savvy, so I use the best of both worlds, and you come up with things that you just come up with hustles you never thought imaginable. And you just keep learning and learning and learning, because you've been grounded in your upbringing and all the lessons of the life that you've had, and it serves you. Cats be getting mad at young cats all the time. Like, they supposed to pay homage to us, and they be disrespecting hip-hop, and they done messed up hip-hop. And I'm like, first of all, you can't hate on young people for being young.
Right.
You can't. Because, and then it makes it seem look even worse, because you looking old and bitter. What you worrying about them young folks for? And then why they don't even know you? They don't even know they gotta say something to you. They don't even know about your music. They be like, man, but they still. I was like, well, let me ask you this question. When you if you're a DJ or you a rapper or whatever, and when you was young, was you trying to find Chubby Checker and Marvin Gaye and all them and Aston and try to make music like them? No. So why you expect them to try to make music like you?
Right.
It's their time.
Yep. You can't fault them. So tell
It's irritating. Your responsibility is to teach them.
Yes.
Put them on game. Right. They're not going to listen, because I wasn't listening. I listened, right? But I'm still going to talk smack. I'm like, man, sit your old butt down. You know what you're talking about. But I am listening, because I know you got game. I know you've been there, right? But I'm young, and my hubris ain't going to let me be. I'm about to, unless it's somebody I really, really respect, right? But I listen to everybody. I might react viscerally sometimes, but best believe I'm listening. Another example on this Geico commercial. One of my boys grew up in the neighborhood. He was like, man, DC, you got to get the data. You got to get the data. I'd like to know how many commercials they playing and this and that and that. You need to get them numbers from Geico. I was like, dude, you tripping. I ain't about to call Geico about that. Don't even make no sense. Like, man, you got to get the data, man. I was like, man, I ain't about to do that. Right. Then I hung up, and then I thought about it. I said, okay, if you had to get the numbers, how would you get them?
Yeah.
Right. So let me call Nielsen. Let me call Nielsen. Let me call iSpot TV. Let me call the people who put the data together. 2 weeks later, I'm in meetings with Nielsen, iSpot TV, and a couple of other companies, and they're giving me the data. Now I know my value proposition. So if I go into another deal, they'll be like, well, why should we mess with you? And I slap down a photo because this is my value proposition. These were the conversions. This was the happy index. This was the how many times that they rewound the DVR. This is how many impressions that they had. This is how many this. This is how many that. 2.2 billion. This is why. Now pay me.
That's right.
Now if I had been closed-minded to that, that wouldn't have led to a whole bunch of other things that are happening, right? But because I kept my mind open, that was the pivotal point of this whole Geico experience. Because now I'm telling the Martin agency and Geico what Nielsen's telling me. And then they got the internal numbers. And then one I spot, they said, I'll give you the numbers. I just want to do an interview with you so we can use this, because no artist never does that. No artist never calls us talking about, I wanted to do my value proposition. I need to know how much I'm worth, because I plan to do this a lot. It's all preparation. But it's also thinking differently. I would have never thought that. I had to go look up what value proposition meant. I could have acted like I was smart and knew what it was, but I kind of knew what it was. But I had to go look it up. I looked it up. I was like, all right, time to hustle. So these things happen to you. They present themselves, and you got to vet them out. And then these things blossom into other flowers and other plants and other things that just keep blessing you. And now you've created your own hustles, and can't nobody follow you and copy you because it came from you. And it's almost magical, right? But it's not. It's hustle. I got 4 hustles in the hole, right? Back in the day, I used to hustle. I have a hustle. Everybody like, man, DDC to get that money. Everybody start copying my hustle. Then they dilute my hustle. But I wasn't mad. I was like y'all can have that hustle. Because I got 6 in the hole. Next up. What did they say was when somebody get hurt? Next man up. That's your opportunity. Come on, hustle. Show me what you can do. And then I nurture that hustle and getting to making money off that hustle. And then they look at me like, dang, DC. And then it's like they can't even keep up, right? Because I got them in the hole and I nurture them. And I'm looking at them. I play chess, 7 moves on the board. I know the 7th move down from the board in every scenario that's going to get me to the win, right? And of course, you got setbacks. Of course, some things don't win, but you're not in it for that. You're in it just to do the work. You're in it just to push forward. So, I mean, I know, I get a little passionate, but man, I'm learning this stuff just on hustle, right?
You gotta have the passion, because if you don't have the passion, then you're not happy in the work,
Yeah.
Because work, passion,
I love the work, man. It ain't nothing but work. I always say that. It ain't nothing. I had a paper route when I was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't nothing but work. And then my parents, what they did is they're like, you got chores. You gotta clean the windows. You gotta rake the leaves. You gotta cut the grass. You gotta cut the hedges. You gotta shovel the snow. And if you do that, you get an allowance. If you don't do it, not only don't you get the allowance, but you can't go play with your friends. If you don't go to church on Sunday, you can't go play football.
Right. That's exactly right.
I tested it a couple times, and it was too painful. So I did what I was supposed to do, did it quickly, got it over with. Now I can do anything I want to do because I put it in the work. And that is what made me the man I am today, because I do not fear work. I'll go work a regular job if I have to work a regular job, because I don't fear work. And you just don't hope it ever has to come to that. But if it do, I'm willing to work, period. Because it ain't nothing but work. That's how you're going to get through it. That's how you're going to get to the next level. If you're scared of work is your kryptonite, you're going to be stuck on that couch.
Man, you don't drop so much knowledge here today. I mean, it's a pleasure, definitely an honor to actually be able to speak with you and actually just talk to you on this level. You know what I mean? I mean, we have to really start planting these seeds in our kids, our young ones, just in people in general, because we here on this earth together. So by us work together, it's gonna make everything a better place. Like you just said before, but we got to actually teach these drive methods so that way, you know, people continue to grow and get inspired, because those, you know, that inspiration comes with new ideas, new places to go. And like you just said, it creates that new hustle. It creates that new work mentality. But then most importantly, you now that thought now becomes a reality. And then you like, okay,
man, I'm
go.
constantly saying to my acting friends, yeah, man, all I want to do is be a working actor. And they're like, DC, you are a working actor. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I want to be, I want to be in commercials. DC, probably got one of the biggest commercials in the history of commercials. Yeah. DC, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah. I know, but you know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying. That's already been accomplished. What's next? Right? What's next? It's not that I'm ungrateful or not satisfied, but life goes on. What's next? What's next that I can overcome to teach other people how to overcome? Right? I mean, because artists been blowing me up like, okay, so who I got to talk to getting a Geico commercial? I'm like, don't work like that, dog. I was like, you shouldn't even came to me like that. You should have came to me with a pitch already done, vetted out. You should have came to me with 3 or 4 pitches with ideas that I could. Then I could go to them and say, I think this. I can look at them and I don't know if there's a good one in there. And then I could throw it at their writers, not the CEO, but their the lowest people on the totem pole. Let them look at it, then they'll go up the chain, and then you got a better chance, right? But you call on up saying I'm such and such, I want to do a Geico commercial. What do I gotta do? They're gonna be like, you ain't gotta do nothing because it ain't gonna happen. It don't work like that.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's been several old school. I mean, people that you would just never imagine reaching out to me. And all of these comments that I see, because I pull down every single comment and I store them. I archive everything. They're all positive. There's only like 8 negative ones out of hundreds of thousands of good ones, right? And I think the last one was tag team must really be broke if they doing a Geico commercial. And I was like, that don't even make no sense, right? Like. So you saying DJ Khaled was broke? You saying Boys II Men was broke? You saying Ice-T was broke? You saying Salt and Pepper was broke? You saying Peter Frampton was broke? You saying rap? You saying Little Richard was broke? You saying all these people broke because they did a Geico commercial? I said artists is breaking their neck to try to get a Geico commercial. Our artist that guy just was worth $200 million is trying to do a Geico commercial because that changes careers. We charted. Our record ain't been on the charts in 20 years. This is now on the charts again.
23 years. And that's boom, like that. Boom.
How's that even possible? Actually on the charts. People actually be buying that record again.
Right.
But
I tell you, man.
But, it's a good thing, and I'm happy. But what's next? Right? What's
next?
I'm trying to mess folks' heads up, and it's different. It's just everybody's success story and success path is different. And we were on Tamron Hall. She was so professional and just dope with it because she created such an incredible narrative. She created like 2-3 narratives for us to just run with, right? Like she knew what I was trying to do, and she made a narrative for us. Like, it's great that you're making the transition from rapping to acting and voiceover, and from what I hear, you're very good at it, and just blew me up. And I'm so forever grateful because I would have had to tell somebody to do it like that, but she did it like that because she's professional, right? And it's rare that I see people that I aspire to be like or just really be impressed with. But she was one, man. She blew me away, and it was because her game was superior. I was like, and I've been on talk shows before, but her game was on a level. I was like, I was so impressed. It just melted me. Just melted me like butter. I love that lady. for real. And you know, she was like, this is a story of redemption, and it felt like I was in the Shawshank Redemption, like for real. It was like Morgan Freeman was talking. It was incredible, and that gave me fuel. Be like, you know what? Here we go.
Yes.
It's time to
Well,
to bat down the hatches and go. Let's go.
where we can find you at, like those who are looking on and looking at this broadcast, where can we find you at if they wanted to come out and contact you and things like that?
So this goes back to SEO, right? This goes back to the website. This goes back to being able to be found. You type in DC Glenn, you're gonna find me. Type in DC the Brain Spring, you type in Tag Team, you type in Whoop, there it is, you type in Scoop, there it is, you type in Geico, you type in anything that got to do with me, you're gonna find me.
There you go.
I ain't gotta say, hit me up on, hey, all my social media handles are the same, DC Glenn ATL or Tag Team Whoop. Make it real easy to find me, and I'll help you, for real. But I'm not gonna give you the game. I'm gonna give you one thing to do. If you do that, then I'll give you another thing to do. If you do that, then I know you're serious, right? These young cats be at DC, put me in the game, man. What you gonna do? I was like, all right, give me your email. I send them a file with a book. I'm like, a file with a book. I want you to read. If you can't read, there's a video. Or don't want to read, there's a video in there. When you finish, you can call back at me. We talk. 98% of people don't even hit me back.
Wow.
Because they want it fast. They want that up front, right?
Yeah.
But the people who do, they call me confused and bewildered. They know a little bit, but they can't get it. Then I give it to them. Like this is what this is. And they be like, oh, I get it. Like, yeah. Because now you will never be taken advantage of in this music industry. Yeah. See, I give them the back end first. Not the front end, the back end. Because they ain't looking at the back end when they sign them contracts. They ain't looking at the back end. They ain't looking 10 years down the line. They want it right here, right now, so they can be a star, get all these girls, get them cars, get them gold chains as quickly as possible. But I ain't giving them that. You got that covered. I'm giving you the back end.
Right.
Back end is make sure you do everything you're supposed to do on the front end and don't get taken advantage of, so you can even get to the back end. Because even if you have a mediocre song, you can get to the back end. You're going to be making money for the rest of your life because you're on the right license and you can license it. And I can tell you 99% of artists don't have it like that, me included. I get bread, but not what I'm supposed to get. I get a good living wage. I ain't got to work, but I'll get what I'm supposed to get because I was half smart. Right, but I take full responsibility for that because I'm a grown man, right? So I take full responsibility for it, and it's up to me to learn all this.
Exactly.
That's why I give it to them the way I wish somebody gave it to me.
Somebody
set me down and said, young brother, be careful of this. I was like, yeah, I got you. And that would have happened. I probably wouldn't have listened. But at least somebody would have told me, and that seed would have been planted in my head, and I would have been looking for something. If somebody had came slick to me and be like, "Wait a minute, this is what that dude was talking about." Give me a couple days, look this over, and I'll get back with you. Then I would have did my due diligence, found out what it was, and then it wasn't gonna be right for me. I'm like, okay, dude, it ain't gonna work, because I know what you're trying to do, and it ain't gonna happen. But we still can work together. We just got to be like this, and then you get the right deal, and everybody goes through it. Everybody. It's just, can you get to the back end, right? And several artists, Too Short did 10 albums before he could get to the back end, right? Outkast did 3 albums before they got to the back end. TLC did a bunch of albums, they never got to the back end. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, the back end is where that's your pension plan. That's your never have to work again plan. Off of one mediocre record. The fact that you made a song and it was played on radio, you winning. If you can get to the back end and license your own music to movies or what have you, because the right song in a TV commercial turns into a hit record. Now, Whoop, there it is forever. Scoop, there it is a hit record. Now,
Exactly.
I got a show tomorrow, and I'm up here stressing. Am I gonna really perform this record with these folks? How am I gonna do this? But I got how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do one thing. We're gonna do our show. Do one thing. There it is. I'm gonna come back at encore. I'm gonna be eating some ice, spinning my scoop, spinning that thing right here, and I'll be like, I'm forgetting something, y'all. They're gonna be like, huh? I'll be like, what am I forgetting? I'm eating some ice cream, eating like an ice cream bar, whatever. Whatever I'm doing, they kind of know what's coming. And I'm like, And then they're gonna start yelling, Scoop, there it is. And then just let the record loop about 2-3 times, have fun with them. Be like, I appreciate y'all. Peace. Don't even gotta sing the record, just let it play, right? And play with them and leave, and that's the encore. And then that's the first test. That's how I'm gonna test tomorrow. Because I don't want to be out there just singing some Scoop, there it is. I don't want to be out there, Prince Vanilla, Rocky Road. But I will, right? But I am going to do sprinkles. Gotta have sprinkles.
Hey. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for your time, for a guest on our Musicap. We appreciate everything that you've done. Your song is a hit. It's going to be forever a hit. And we just, appreciate you so much. Was there anything else you want to add? Or?
No, I really don't. About DC.
I just hope I didn't run my mouth too much.
No,
man,
we want to hear you.
Yeah,
we want to hear
man.
what you got to say.
No, man. No, never that. DC, no, you drop so much knowledge down this podcast. We'd love to have you back again. Definitely more knowledge and things that we can do, and definitely, encourage these young youth, and encourage us. You actually encouraged us today. Gary, you made me think about my mom. Like, hey, we got to think about our next step. What the next step to get out there. So it's
the clock is ticking.
Talk with you today. You didn't get a chance to hear it earlier, but you know what? I have it ready for you right now, so you can check it out.
Ride out with this. We're gonna ride out with it. Oh, y'all didn't throw the reverb. Y'all threw the echo on it. All right.
Like I said, y'all speaking now.
That's funny, man. Hey, y'all have a blessed Sunday. Happy Easter. I was glad that I could have just had the chance to just chop it up with y'all. I wish we was eating a soul food dinner while we was talking, boy. But hey, maybe next time. I appreciate y'all.
Yes,
All right,
thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
All right. Y'all take care. Peace.
Happy
Peace.
Easter.
One love, brother.
You too. All right now.